Welcome to our series, Learning from the Experts, 7 Winning Strategies for Building a Successful Data Center Business. Hi, I'm Bruce Taylor with Data Center Dynamics. This series explores challenges executives and managers face when operating a successful data center. In this segment, we hear from Chris Downey, CEO of Telx. He's speaking with Jason Walker, Regional Director at Schneider Electric, on how to choose the ideal site location. A critical first step for anyone building a data center is where to site it, making sure to weigh in all the necessary factors for success. Let's hear what these two experts have to say.
Thank you, Bruce. Chris, nice to see you again today.
Great to be here.
Thanks for having us out here at Telx's wonderful NJR3 facility. Today we're going to talk about one of the most important decisions that every data center company has to make, and that's where to locate or build your next facility. Some of it's a real estate decision, but what are some other important criteria?
Well, real estate is the most important decision from a data center site selection perspective. There are two primary categories of considerations, those that we refer to as table stakes. So what are the minimum requirements for a site to operate a data center? And then there are customer application considerations. So what's important to the IT application that's operating within the customer environment?
You're right, the evolution of the industry has definitely made some things a bare minimum requirement. Can you talk about some of those?
Sure. On the table stake side, everything starts and stops with power. So power availability is very important. So where is there an abundance of power to support the long-term customer requirements, but also power affordability. So as you can imagine, power can be a lot more cost effective in certain locations than other locations. Network access is also very important. So there's obviously a significant amount of content or information that's residing within these environments. And so having the ability to access networks to distribute that content is very important as well. The other area is structural and environmental considerations. So structural really relates to, what's the physical environment that the data center is residing on, and from an environmental perspective, you don't want to have a data center located either in an area that could be prone to natural disasters like either an earthquake or a flood zone.
You'd also mentioned some customer-driven considerations that Telx makes. Can you talk some about those?
Sure. Certain of the customer applications are more latency sensitive than others. So latency meaning that content needs to reside as close as possible to the end user so it can be delivered as quickly as possible. So proximity to the end user or proximity to the customer is a critically important consideration. There's also there are also additional economic and regulatory considerations for the customers as well. Ultimately, there are tax incentives like no sales tax on the IT infrastructure equipment that's housed within the environment. That could be a significant advantage from a cost perspective for the customer. Connectivity, as I mentioned, basic access is important, but certain of the applications residing in the data center environment have a tremendous amount of connectivity requirements, not only to get to a single location, but also have the optionality to get to a myriad of different locations on a global basis.
How about staffing? Does that play a role?
Yes, it absolutely does, and that can be a key differentiator when looking at your data center solution. Our environments are operating 24/7, and as I mentioned before, there's a whole host of different applications that are running within those environments. So having folks that are certified, either from a network perspective or from a critical infrastructure perspective, is very important to the customer's solution.
Sure. How important is the ability to expand at either a new or an existing facility?
It's very important. Ultimately, all of our customers are growing, and the IT demands being put on their companies are growing as well. And so we want to make sure that not only do we have the home for them at the get-go, but ultimately have a critical path for growth that they require as well.
Well, location is critically important for the very best data center companies to get right, and by the success of Telx, it's clear you guys spent a lot of time thinking about this. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Back to you, Bruce.
Thanks, gentlemen, and thank you all for joining us today. I hope you are able to gain new insight and value for your data center business from this conversation. On behalf of Schneider Electric, this is Bruce Taylor for Data Center Dynamics.